Good morning. It is Tuesday, November the 16th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. There are more and more reports surfacing regarding the mistreatment of people in home isolation. In many cases, COVID-positive individuals are being forced out of their homes by family members, and it's an issue which speaks to COVID stigma within the community, as the Morning Report would have revealed in our reporting recently. In response, a local private nursing agency is stepping up to the plate, hoping to lend a helping hand. Caribbean Home Help is planning to apply for permission from the Ministry of Health for its nurses to assist by going into the homes of the elderly and others finding it hard to cope with the COVID-19 situation and in particular home isolation. The Chief Executive Officer, Paul Marshall, tells the Morning Report there's been growing demand for home help services during the COVID-19 pandemic. He says even overseas clients have requested his company's help to service the daily needs of their relatives here. Mr. Marshall reveals he's now getting calls to help individuals who were in home isolation and the home isolation program, and he explains how his agency would approach the situation.
We have been contacted regarding COVID-19 positive patients who are in home isolation. We are equipped to be able to take care of them from the standpoint of the acquisition of PPE and the skill set of our nurses. However, we go into it with the understanding that we must follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. And with each case, we do an assessment. Most of those cases are past the 10-day period, of which is less of a risk for our nurses. And we try to do our best to ensure that we follow our protocols as strictly as possible.
And the Caribbean Home Help CEO believes there will be growing demand even as more people recover from COVID-19.
We do believe that it will increase to the fact that you're dealing with, in some cases, with aging persons who were already compromised, and now they're in a situation where they have additional ailments due to COVID, and the family members are not equipped to be able to take care of those needs. With that, I believe there will be an increased demand for our service, and for our nurses that do accept that role, we will answer the call.
Now, Caribbean Home Help has about 60 active trained nurses on its roster and about 40 additional nurses on standby. Patient Safety Coordinator Amanda Alfred says the company's recruitment drive speaks to the need for this type of service being offered.
We are constantly recruiting, we are constantly vetting our current caregivers, and we are constantly trying to find the best of the best of the best and keep them with us. From there, however, I will say that currently we did have a very recent large-scale recruitment drive, bigger than anything we've ever done, and we do currently have quite a bit of nurses available waiting to be placed.
And you can go to www.caribbeanhomehelp.com for more information. Next on the Morning Report are COVID-19 updates. 223 people, 101 males and 122 females, have been identified as COVID-19 positive by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory in the latest round of tests. A total of 1,229 tests were conducted on Sunday. The new positives comprise 42 individuals under the age of 18. There are now 927 people in isolation facilities and 7,419 people in home isolation. Meanwhile, one person, a 64-year-old man, succumbed to the virus on Sunday while at the Harrison Point isolation facility. He was unvaccinated. Last night was the beginning of the new reduced curfew hours from 8 to 5, and many restaurant and bar owners are elated for the additional hours of business. We hear more from our Shane Jones.
When Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley announced the new curfew time over the weekend, many took to social media expressing their approval. We went on the road today and we met Fox. He had a similar opinion.
Yeah, so 3 hours is a dream come true. Because normally sometimes when I go to work, I don't get until late on evenings. So I don't got enough time to go to the supermarket or to shop to get things for make breakfast and what's not. So yeah, so 3 hours, I appreciate it, so 3 hours.
And of course, the bars are also happy about the move.
That would record very good for business because fellas that usually would like to stay open and spend a longer time, they'll be able to stay open no longer and get what they really want, yeah.
Many small businesses stand to benefit, like the Tate Hill Mini Mart, owned by Patricia Patsy Burrows.
Means maybe you get a bit more sales by opening a little later. Not that I'm going to open up to 12. I will close off before, but it should bring in some more sales.
Some of the bigger restaurants like Buzo are also thankful for the extra time. General Manager Danny Mansour told us the 9 o'clock curfew posed several challenges.
It was almost as hard, if not harder, than being actually locked down or shut. Being that you had to open up still with the expectation of possibly getting business or trying to go after business. So it took us a lot of time to either pivot, try and focus on other areas, how we can get more locals back in. Because remember, at that point, the airport was still being an issue. So now we were always focused, and it has always been Buzo's focus, the local clientele. And we have to be grateful for them that have maintained us to have head above water.
He believes the new curfew time will positively impact the service industry.
Also being that it's a 4-week aspect that we do know in advance, we have a better idea of how to plan. So you have more consistency in terms of ability to plan for certain things instead of unknown certainty of every 2 weeks. Now with 4 weeks as our giveaway, as our information, we are able to plan more better to see what we can do for either new menu, new things for Christmas lunches, things like that along those lines.
The midnight curfew will be in place for 4 weeks. Shane Jones, CBC News.
Over in Jamaica, the mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, has announced plans to reopen the Red Rose Fish Market and other markets that were closed due to rising COVID-19 infections in recent months.
At the meeting of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Cooperation this week, Mayor of Kingston Delroy Williams declared satisfying news for fish vendors of the Red Rose Fish Market. Williams says the market is scheduled to reopen before the beginning of the festive season.
We are doing our final touches on the Red Rose Fish Market, and I personally went and met with the fish vendors last week and express my expectations in terms of the use of the facility, a very lovely facility. And so sometime between this week, next week, more than likely next week, we will open the Red Rose Fish Market.
Williams lauded the fish vendors for their patience, noting their cooperation and orderly behavior despite being dislocated for an extended time.
And with a very nice car park to encourage buyers to use the facility. So we hope that it will be the start of a very prosperous period for our fish vendors.
As we reported yesterday, the Austrian government has ordered a nationwide lockdown for people who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19, a measure aimed at slowing the fast spread of the disease in the country. They're now into the second day of the initiative.
Just to be allowed outdoors, these people must be able to prove they've either been vaccinated or recently had COVID, what's called in German the 2G-Regel or 2G rule. If not, they're breaking the law and face a fine of up to €1,450. Ministers say the low uptake of the vaccine and the high number of new cases meant they had to act.
The incidence among vaccinated people is declining, but it continues to rise exponentially for the people who are not vaccinated. Currently, the incidence for unvaccinated people in the 18 to 59 age group is over 1,700. So from Monday, there will be a lockdown for the unvaccinated here.
Across the border in the German state of Bavaria, many communities are facing the same threat. There too, ministers are urging all the unvaccinated to get the jab. In 3 German states, the incidence of COVID is already more than 500 per 100,000 residents. In all 3, the 2G rule is either in place or about to be implemented. But at a federal level, there seems no clear policy. Unlike the situation in Austria, the caretaker government here is in office, but not really in power. The politicians who matter are still trying to build a majority in parliament. And while they argue over who gets which ministerial job in the next few weeks, it's what COVID might do in the next few days that many people in wider society are worrying about. This intensive care unit in Munich is one of many across the country which are full of COVID patients, with the prospect of more to come.
If we look at the new infections registered in the past 2 weeks, we see an increase from 30,000 to 50,000. This also shows up in the occupancy rates. Intensive care patients have doubled, and these 50,000 people who have tested positive now will come to us this week or next week. So the future looks quite dark, I would say, and we're quite worried about how we are going to take care of all these people.
Official EU figures suggest around 2/3 of the population have been fully vaccinated. For them, it means attendance at festive events like these in Vienna are no problem. But for the third who remain unvaccinated, at least in Austria for now, lockdowns are looming. Something similar may soon be coming to Germany.
Time now for a preview of what's coming up on today's edition of Morning Barbados with Pearson Boyd. Here's Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. Good morning, everyone. At 6:30 this morning, we'll be taking a look at the benefits of international education. Why? Because the U.S. Embassy on Saturday will be holding a virtual event to share with you more about College Day. How can you benefit and how can your little one also get the information? We'll share that with you. Today is known as the International Day for Tolerance, and the Humanists Barbados are having an event. Who are Humanists Barbados and what do they stand for? We will talk about that a little later on. And we'll continue looking at 5 more things that parents of newborn babies tend to worry about. Our pediatrician will come by to allay most of your fears. We'll have those and a whole lot more when you join me at 6:30 for Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. Relief coming for residents in the north worried about their garbage collection. We'll have this and other stories related to tourism as well, some big tourism news as well, coming your way right here on The Morning Report. Residents in the north of the island should soon have some relief from their garbage collection woes. Public Relations Officer at the SSA, the Sanitation Service Authority, Carl Padmore, told the Morning Report that a number of issues, including COVID-19, impacted collections in that area.
We have had some challenges recently in the north of the island. Reason for that, some of our staff, like other places, had COVID, and those who didn't have COVID, they were under watch, and so they had to stay home. We had mechanical issues as well. We are working and we're getting back there now. So the north of the island would have been hard hit over the last 2 to 3 weeks, not getting their regular collection. And so we do wish to apologize for that. But we're saying to you that we're getting back on track. In the north of the island, you could call 256-7228 or 836-1722, 256-7228.
Meanwhile, the SSA's fleet of vehicles is almost finished when it comes to the retrofitting process to prepare them for their new roller bins.
We have been able to outfit well over 95% of our lorries with the mechanical parts that will be used to lift the roller carts. I suspect that over the next maybe 5 weeks, we should be in St. Philip in that area. Right now, we are in the St. Michael corridor going into St. George, so we're coming closer down and then we're coming up because we would have started in the north. And as you know, the north would encompass St. Lucie, St. Peter, St. James, St. Joseph, St. Andrew. So we are coming closer to home to you. And so in the meantime, process can still continue. But even until that time, practicing some small waste, separating waste. 98% of what you have in your household can be recycled.
Tourism Minister Senator Lisa Cummins says meetings will be held later this week to find a resolution to the situation at the Bridgetown port. Her comments come in response to a viral social media video with a female taxi driver venting about the inability to secure jobs at the port. When a CBC team visited the port yesterday, the usual hustle and bustle by the front gate was absent. A few tour buses and taxis were observed leaving and entering the port with passengers. Apart from the pending talks, however, the minister says ministry teams and the port's officials have been working to get a business model such as the Bridgetown Port Live tours on cruise ships.
In order for us to make the tourism industry, specifically the cruise tourism industry, make sense to locals and to the local economy, we have to find a way to get past this hurdle in partnership with the cruise lines. And we will be meeting with them during the course of this week and perhaps also using the mechanisms of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and the other Caribbean partners in the tourism sector across the region, coming to a collective solution on a problem that is not Barbados specific.
Noting the divide between large tour companies and taxi drivers has been around for a while, the tourism minister is confident the taxis can get a share of the business.
We have a very high level of vaccinations among taxi operators, and they are certainly no less safe than a tour bus operation. And I believe that they have the capability in the same way that throughout the course of the COVID-19 pandemic, and they were authorized transportation service providers from the airport, and they were taking persons from the airport directly to their hotels, and that we were able to entrust that responsibility to them. That equally so, that the concerns of the ship, which are driven by public health, are equally capable of being met by these same taxi operators. It is something that we have met with the ship agents and with the cruise lines themselves on multiple occasions over an extended period of time as we prepare to restart the season. It is a source of concern for all of the agencies that are involved in the resumption of cruise.
The body of a 43-year-old man was discovered in a prisoner's cell at the Whole Town Police Station over the weekend. The man has been identified as Colin MacDonald Green of Chalky Mount, St. Andrew. Police say Green was discovered about midnight on November 13th by on-duty officers who were making their routine checks. Police say he first came into their custody on November the 2nd and that he tested positive for COVID-19 after being assessed by the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 unit. He was treated at an isolation center and later released back into police custody and transported to the Whole Town station on November 13th. On the officer's initial discovery, checks for signs of life were made and none was found. A medical doctor was immediately summoned, and after his examination, Green was pronounced dead. Green's immediate family has been informed, and they visited the Whole Town police station where they identified his body. A 19-year-old youth appeared in the magistrate's court in Bermuda yesterday, charged with murdering 2 men last month at a popular Hamilton pub, becoming the second person to be accused over a crime that shocked Bermuda. 19-year-old Shion Akinstall was accused of the killing of 27-year-old Ayande Eve and 22-year-old Micah Davis. The latter was celebrating his birthday at the Robin Hood pub and restaurant on October the 26th. The pair died in a hail of bullets as many patrons were preparing to leave the pub after watching English football matches. Akinstall was also accused of the attempted murder of Derek Golding, an off-duty police sergeant, and Troy Eve Burgess. During the same incident, he was further charged with 4 counts of use of a firearm. He was not required to enter a plea as the case must be heard in the Supreme Court. The United Kingdom has raised the national terror threat there after a blast near a hospital. Police were called on Sunday morning about reports of an explosion involving a taxi at Liverpool Women's Hospital. Viewers are warned that some of these images could be a bit disturbing.
The drop-off point at Liverpool Women's Hospital in northwest England. It's just before 11 a.m. and a taxi arrives. There's an explosion, then the driver can be seen getting out and several people rush to help him. He was injured but has now been released from hospital. By the time fire crews arrived, the taxi was in flames and the passenger was dead inside the vehicle. This has now been declared a terrorist incident.
It is a stark reminder of the need for us all to remain utterly vigilant, and the Independent Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, JTAC, are today raising the UK's threat level from substantial to severe, meaning an attack is highly likely.
Counter-terrorism police have been involved in the investigation since Sunday. Hours after the incident, police arrested 3 men, all in their 20s, at the same property in Liverpool. A 4th person's now been detained. Police say they found significant items at one address.
It is not clear what the motivation for this incident is. Our inquiries indicate that an improvised explosive device has been manufactured, and our assumption so far is that it was built by the passenger in the taxi. The reason why he then took it to the women's hospital is unknown, as is the reason for its sudden explosion.
The police say the passenger had asked to go to the hospital, but they're checking whether there's any link with Remembrance Day events nearby on Sunday.
U.S. President Joe Biden is scheduled to meet virtually with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping, and that was to happen yesterday as the leaders seek to address points of tension, competition, and potential cooperation between the two nations.
The summit's virtual, the tension real. US President Joe Biden wanted to meet his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in person, but the Chinese leader rejecting all external invites. The fact the US wants to push ahead flags the importance of a bilateral relationship which has hit stalemate.
I would argue that the US-China relationship is at one of its most precarious moments that it's been in for quite some time.
China says it's ready to work with the US to get the relationship back on track. The two superpowers have shared interests. There's the fight against COVID, the problems with the global supply chain, and global warming. Joe Biden has had 2 conversations with Xi Jinping since he moved into the Oval Office. The first didn't happen until February. That delay seen by some as a deliberate snub for Beijing. The second conversation was in September. But Joe Biden was very critical of Xi's decision not to go to the climate summit in Glasgow, essentially saying that if you want to be considered a world leader, you have to actually show up to lead. There are tensions between the two, most notably over the Chinese crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong, the treatment of mainly Muslim Uyghurs in China, and Chinese military exercises near Taiwan, which the US has promised to defend. One top US official says China's economic growth is changing the global landscape.
We're witnessing one of the largest shifts in global geostrategic power that the world has witnessed, and it only happens once in a while.
China doesn't want a conflict with the United States, just like the US doesn't want a conflict with China. And so I think that the idea of a summit is essentially an off-ramp. It's an opportunity for the two sides to lower the temperatures and take stock of where things are in the relationship.
Summits rarely happen without something to show for it, so there could be movement on trade, visa restrictions, and perhaps even small moves on nuclear weapons. Both sides want to move from confrontation to cooperation, but both sides need to agree that is the next step.
In sporting news, there was no play again yesterday for the West Indies men, as for the second straight day, rain prevented any play in their 4-day warm-up fixture against Sri Lanka A team in Colombo. Head coach Phil Simmons says they've used the time off the field wisely as they prepare to take on the Sri Lankans in a 2-test series at the Galle International Cricket Stadium from next week.
All we can do is go in the indoor net. Today we were lucky we got about half an hour out on one of the pitches that was there, but you know, you can't do anything about it. We've got to use the indoor facilities, and the guys have been using it very well.
And how accommodative have Sri Lanka cricket and the ground been during this time?
They've been brilliant. It's ever since the first day we came out of quarantine and we have started to practice, they've been brilliant. They try to make sure we get everything we need, and the only thing they can't do is stop the rain, but other than that, they've been brilliant.
So do you consider this a major disruption to your preparation for the series?
Well, I wouldn't say major, because it's not like we're not practicing and the other team's practicing. So I think the guys come with a certain amount of confidence from the 2 games they played at home before the team had traveled. So I think we're riding on that right now, and we're getting the little top-ups that we need. So I wouldn't say it was major. It's a disruption, but I wouldn't say it was major.
Do you think the players are a little bit disappointed to not be able to get that match practice in the conditions?
Yeah, well, I would hope they would be disappointed, because you want to play out there, you want to go out in the middle and bat for a long period of time, and the disappointment must be there.
What areas are you still trying to fine-tune ahead of the first test?
I think when you come to a new place, you have to fine-tune everything. I think you have to get the pace you want to go on the wicket as spinners. You know, the way you want to bat on these wickets down here is a little bit different to the Caribbean. So, you know, you have to fine-tune everything. But you know, mentally, you have to make sure that you're ready for the challenge. And I think that is the only thing we have to do right now. As in, you know, there's no chance to play the game, but mentally you got to make sure you stay focused.
And that's sports. Time now for a look at the weather. The temperature on the outside right now nice and cool with those early morning showers. 25.6 degrees Celsius is where it stands. The humidity has it feeling a whole lot warmer. The humidity is up to 81%. The apparent temperature up to 30 degrees Celsius. It is fair on the outside though right now. The barometric pressure is 11 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east at about 30 kilometers per hour. We'll get a low tide this morning at 10 minutes to 8. The high tide will come our way at 2 minutes after 2 in the afternoon. There will be another low tide at 24 minutes after 8 tonight. Those seas are moderate in open water. Swells are between 1.5 and 2.5 meters. Expect them to increase. No cautions are in effect. It will be sunny today with cloudy periods here in Barbados with a few brief scattered light showers. And tonight we'll have a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. Today over the Lesser Antilles, it will be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with some brief scattered light showers. And tonight it will be fair to partly cloudy there with brief scattered light showers. And here's a quick look at the international weather forecast. And that's it for the Tuesday edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Indeed, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today. Today is Tuesday, November the 16th, 2021. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming those of you here in Barbados and across the globe watching us on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook streams. We are also available on Mornin Barbados on Facebook, so don't forget, like our page. We post everything we do there so you can follow up just after the show as well. Now, this morning, we'll continue in our real estate segment looking at some of those things that you need to consider when you're designing your house plan. We'll continue that conversation with Agent Sharita. You do not want to miss it. And in our fitness segment, Thornwell will come by. As he's promised, he'll be introducing us to other fitness athletes, and we'll learn a little bit more about their fitness regime and how we can try a thing or two and find ourselves even fitter. And if you're a parent of a brand new baby or a newborn somehow in your home and you're a little bit concerned and scared, well, our pediatrician will allay most of your fears this morning, so do not miss that this morning on Morning Barbados. Let's get started by looking at the opportunities available to young people for study in the United States. That's when the U.S. Embassy hosts on Saturday its upcoming virtual College Day Live. Joining us to talk a little bit more about that is Simone Kendall, who is the Deputy Public Relations Officer with the United States Embassy Barbados, and Faith Canada, who is Education USA Advisor in Barbados. Good morning, both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Starting with you, Simone, talk to us a little bit about education and what this opportunity provides for people of Barbados and the region.
Yes, good morning, Pearson, and thank you so much for having us on today. So, as you may know, we are in the midst of International Education Week, which is a week that celebrates the benefits of international education and exchange worldwide. So, our Education USA advising centers and embassies throughout the world, and specifically this region, are going to be hosting just various activities to conduct outreach and discuss the value of just that international education exchange. I think the key thing, because the U.S. Embassy does so much in terms of outreach and education, we want to make sure that students are prepared for their studies overseas and specifically within the U.S. So American colleges and universities are known worldwide for their quality of programs and facilities, and we know that Caribbean students bring so much to our classrooms. And an important perspective, in a recent Open Doors report, we saw that 13.8% increase of Barbados students pursuing their studies in the U.S. So despite the pandemic, students are still interested in studying in the U.S., and we want to make sure we're doing our best to support them. I won't give away too much in terms of what we're doing this week. I'll leave that to Faith, but I just want to commend Faith as well as our Education USA advisors on the work that they're doing to support students as they pursue their studies overseas.
That's fine. We'll get to that. Now, oftentimes when parents and students are looking for opportunities in the United States, they do their own individual search. And sometimes you don't quite find everywhere. So what does this allow people to be able to do? Because I'm told you have 40 or so institutions that are coming together in one space where we can now engage. So walk me through the process.
Yes, good morning. And this process will help students to be able to navigate the college experience. Now, as you said, Pearson, there are over 40 U.S. accredited higher education institutions that will be joining us for College Day Live on Saturday. And students will have the opportunity to speak with reps from a variety of institutions, universities, college, technical universities, research universities, so that they can explore their options for studying in the U.S.
Paint me the benefits.
The benefits. So you get to have international experience, different culture. You get to have the experience of learning with persons from different countries, and you're able then to bring that experience back to Barbados to serve your country here, where you're able to then bring your knowledge and experience and the training that you would have experienced there, so that then you can share and help your country to grow.
Should we see this as simply recruitment, or should we see this as forward planning? Because oftentimes we wait until the very last minute, we got our CA results, now we got to get into college, and now we start to hunt. But there are children who are much younger who have already very clear ideas on what they want to achieve. Can they also be a part of this so that they can get some idea of what's available and a greater understanding of the opportunities so that when their time comes, they're ready?
Of course, this definitely is forward planning, and as Education USA advisors, we encourage our students to plan and start early. So students, if you're in first form or second form, third form, even if you're in primary school and you're starting to think about, what is my career, what I'm going to do when I grow up, now is a good opportunity to start to do your research, to start to think about what options there are. Sometimes our students think about the regular doctor or the lawyer, but there's so many other opportunities out there that you can experience. And for instance, if you talk about computer studies, there's so many options for computer science, cybersecurity, and so on. So this gives students an opportunity to start thinking early, about what options there are, where it can go, what are the schools that I can be exposed to, because we know students are often exposed to only certain schools, so they hear about the Ivy League schools, but there's so many options, over 4,000 options available in the US that they can be exposed to. So we encourage you and your students, your wards, come to this College Day Live event on Saturday. It will be from 12 noon to 5 p.m. and we encourage you to log on virtually so that you can be able to talk to the reps directly and have that first-hand knowledge and that first-hand connection, build that connection so that when you're ready, you will have all your ducks in a row, essentially.
So to get our ducks in a row, we also have to consider things like student visa, the cost of education, because if you do it here in Barbados, it's free up to a certain level. And so how can this program help guide me to allay my fears and concerns where that's concerned?
Yes, so there are going to be individual group sessions on just that, doing the process of applying for a student visa, as well as looking at financial aid options, and then also allowing for discussions between students and these accredited higher education institutions. I also want to highlight too that we have a virtual scavenger hunt opportunity, just as a little encouragement for students to get involved in signing up for the College Day Live. So if you go to our Instagram page, you're going to see daily clues posted at about 12 o'clock each day throughout the week. And there are daily prizes. So you'll just answer a question and you might get the opportunity to win a grand prize of an Apple MacBook too.
Right, so on Instagram is where this Cavi Hunt is being done. And what's the Instagram page?
So you're going to go to U.S. Embassy B-Town. So it's our U.S. Embassy Bridgetown page, and you can also find links from our U.S. Embassy website. So if you go to BBB, U.S. Embassy.
Yes. There it is on the screen, everybody. bb.usembassy.gov. That's where you go, and you can get more information about the competition rules. You can also get to know a whole lot more about the upcoming virtual, I call it a classroom almost, where you can actually meet face-to-face, one-on-one with colleges. And so there are, as you said, Faith, a number of colleges who will be a part of this virtual session. And so we can get the opportunity to know more about college life, campus life. What is it that you offer? And I would want to suggest to students and parents, don't just look at the academics alone, look at the extracurricular activities as well, because you're going to be immersing yourself not just in a new culture, in a new space. And so you want to know what the space around also provides. Would I be correct?
Yes, definitely. You want to explore other things. And we also encourage students when they're doing their searches to not only look at the academics, but look at the university. So for example, we tell students, are you someone that wants to go to a big university where there are lots of students, or do you prefer a small university? Look to see what options are available in terms of, are there internships, there's scholarships, extracurricular activities that you can be involved in, if you want to be involved in sports, if you want to be involved in a robotics club. So all these are things that you should be looking at when you're doing your research. And as the Education USA advisor, one of them in country, we encourage students as well to get in touch with the Education USA Advising Center. We are located at the Barbados Community College There's another advisor there. Her name is Raquel Cullimore, and we also have another advisor, Sabrina Foster, who is stationed at the U.S. Embassy. And we can assist you in this journey. So attend College Day Live, but you can also connect with us so that we can help you to reach your goal of studying in the USA.
Talk to me, Faith, about the benefits, that you, not just the benefits, but your experience when you went to study in the United States.
The exposure of being around knowledgeable professors who not only studied, but then they would have worked, and they would have had the experience of, you know, as a student, and then they'll be able to teach you and so on. And then even the benefits of the technology using at school and the library, and being able to connect with persons from all over the world, it helps to broaden your perspective. It helped me to be able to see a different worldview and a world perspective, and help me to be able to, it also makes connections, because to today I'm still connected with those persons from later on. So it's a great experience, and now I'm able to come back to Barbados and be able to share my knowledge, give back to my country, and also help those students now who are looking to move on and have that experience as well.
I think the opportunity to rub shoulders with many people from varying cultures, to know more about them, is a thrill of education in itself, not just by rote, whatever it is you're learning in the classroom, but just to connect human to human, person to person, experience to experience is tremendous. Now, Simone, why is the U.S. Embassy offering this?
Yes, so as I was saying before, with the acknowledgement of American colleges and universities having such a outstanding quality of their programs, we've noticed that Caribbean students, they bring a lot to our classrooms. And just like that, you were discussing the need for cultural exchange and the importance of how enlightening that can be to both parties involved in whatever exchange it may be. We've seen an increase in the students from Barbados as well as the Eastern Caribbean, and we want to make sure that students are able to have the options available, but also are prepared to be able to go off on their studies and begin that adventure of studying in the U.S.
This is fantastic. So once again, if you want to sign up for this upcoming Saturday's virtual college fair, all week long there are activities going on, but if you want to get ready for that, where can we go and how simple is the process?
Yes, so you can visit the website bb.usembassy.gov. There you can go on and you can sign up, click on the link, register, and once you register, you'll be able to join our virtual college fair. It is simple, the platform is easy to use. Students will be able to meet with reps at a lounge table essentially. So it takes on the shape of a fair if you were having it in person, where you will go to the booth. It will be similar. You will go to the booth where you can chat with the reps, get the information that you need. There's also going to be a booth for Education USA advisors, so that if you need any guidance or any help, we'll be able to direct you as well.
Once you go to the website and you begin to register, on that same page is a schedule of how the day will flow from 12 noon till 5. So you see all of the opportunities and the places and spaces. Just click and go through. You're going into the time of your life. And for those of you younger ones, you teenagers, you don't know the opportunity that you have now that me and my older age, we didn't have. So here it is, grab the opportunity right now. It's available for those of you, I think between 12 and 18 years old. You're opening this up to, would I be right?
Anyone can join.
Oh,
anyone
great.
can join.
So even at my age, I can still be a part of it?
Of course, if you're interested in studying, go ahead. We welcome it.
Lifelong learning, that's what it's about. So folks, let's do this. Go to bb.usembassy.gov and you look for that sign up page and you'll be a part of it. Remember, all week long on Instagram, there is a scavenger hunt and clues will be posted by 12 noon. Students across the region, you have an opportunity to win daily prizes, but most of all, that grand prize of an Apple MacBook is available to you. So all week long at 12 noon, clues will pop up, and when the clues pop up, you know what to do. Get cracking, solve those clues, look for hunt. It's a scavenger hunt. And don't forget to follow on Instagram and register to attend the College Day Live. It's great. The grand prize is that $1,500 Apple MacBook. all with the U.S. Embassy and Education USA. Simone Kendall, Deputy Public Affairs Officer, and Faith Callender, the Advisor with Education USA. Thanks both of you ladies for coming, accepting our invitation to be a part of this, and for opening up our knowledge of what's available. And I hope that many people register and benefit from this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. 14 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So 12 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock as we turn our attention to today being the International Day for Tolerance. And so Humanists Barbados are having an event, a virtual event. But I know you're asking, who are Humanists Barbados? We'll get to meet the president and founder of Humanists Barbados now. Her name is Machelle Farley. Good morning to you, Machelle.
Good morning, Mr. Boyne. Nice to be here. It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming. Now, the question is, who are Humanists Barbados?
Well, Humanist Barbados is a community of humanists, atheists, agnostics, and non-religious people here in Barbados. We meet to discuss different topics, support each other. We are actually a member of Humanist International, the global humanist movement. And to go a little deeper, I would say three things. To be humanist means that I give meaning and shape to my life without belief in a supernatural realm or in God or gods. And two, I base my understanding of the world on reason, science, observation, and by asking questions. And then the third, I accept the rich diversity of thought and cultures around me.
How widespread, how large is this organization in Barbados?
Well, in Barbados, we have a small chapter right now, but we're growing day by day. As persons see the IG, see the Facebook, they say, wow, I didn't know this existed in Barbados. I've always wanted to kind of connect with people who think the same way I do. And indeed, the humanist movement is large around the world. We've been able to connect with humanists from around the world via Humanist International. So we're still a part of a global movement. So even though there are only a few of us here in Barbados who are actually meeting and gathering and supporting each other, I imagine that we're going to grow. We're going to continue to grow.
But why do you meet? I mean, you could stay in your space and just have your own thought. But you're saying, let's come together, let's pool our collective energies. Why? To do what?
Well, you know, human beings thrive on connection. Indeed, when I was inspired to start Humanist International, it's because I said to myself, wow, I'm thinking differently now. I'm a humanist. Is there anyone I can talk to about, you know, the different views that I want to express, the ways I want to look at the world? And I couldn't find any community. So humans in general, whether you're humanist or not, we thrive on connection. So that's why we want to, you know, bring persons together to enjoy that connection, that human connection.
How long has this how long has Humanist Barbados been in existence in Barbados?
Well, it was conceptualized around when COVID first plummeted itself upon us, around January to March 2020. And they started the IG page, they started putting information up there, education about what humanism is, and they started getting little messages here and there and saying, what's this about, and it started to grow from there.
And so today we're looking at the International Day of Tolerance. What is the theme for International Day of Tolerance by the Humanists, and what is it that you're hoping today awakens?
Well, the simple message is that diversity is important. And diversity is the one thing that we actually have in common as human beings, regardless of what you believe. And if we were to go a little deeper, I would want to clarify the definition of tolerance as stated by the UN, which means to respect, to accept, and to appreciate our differences. And I paraphrased it for our purposes today. And I believe as we move forward, and even as we transition to a republic, these are terms and ideas that we need to use in order to create the fair and equal society that we want to see moving forward.
And so you're having today a virtual event at which you're also going to be launching the Barbados Freedom of Thought report. And so can you give me a sneak peek of what's in that Freedom of Thought report, and how was it conducted?
Well, the Freedom of Thought report is conducted by the international body Humanist International, and they do reports for countries all over the world. Actually, it's a global report. So in Barbados, the one that is fixed to Barbados, they talk about the amount of Christians or the persons who believe differently, how many are non-religious, they talk about if there are any human rights violations, if you're able to express your beliefs freely without being censored. They talk about, for Barbados specifically, the fact that we have a blasphemy law on our books, and you could be in prison, or you can be sentenced, you could be, so they talk about different things like that. They also talk about apostasy laws. That's not on our books, but that's something that it's on the books for many, many countries around the world, where if you decide that you want to think differently, if you want to leave your religion, if you want to change your mind about how you see the world, then you could be imprisoned and sentenced. So that's the general idea behind the report. It really promotes, defends the rights of all human beings, but especially humanists, atheists, and non-religious persons who might be sidelined and discriminated because they don't subscribe to a specific religion or institution.
We're often of the thought that one bad apple spoils a whole bunch. And so there's a lot of fear that exists when many apples sit in a particular basket, which one is going to be the bad apple to spoil the bunch. And so when you talk about Humanist Barbados, or Humanist International period, there's going to be a lot of concern about what you stand for. So how do you today begin to get the message out that you are not to be feared, that you might not necessarily be the bad apple?
It's interesting that you say the bad apple, because to be humanist, to be atheist, to be agnostic doesn't mean you're bad. People may assume that because you might not know, you might not understand, you cannot believe how, someone cannot believe in God the way you do or see the world the way you do. But that's what the message of tolerance says. It says, hey, you are, I don't understand, but I want to learn. I'm going to ask questions, and even though we don't see the world the same way, we can coexist. We can put our heads together to solve the world's problems. We can enjoy the same human rights and live our lives here in Barbados as a community, seeing the world differently. It's possible, and there are no bad apples.
But with every right comes responsibility. Life is about action and consequences to actions as well. So I'm just myself trying to understand what your place and what this virtual event that you're having today is seeking to achieve, because you're going under the theme, no monarch, no massa, no God. What are you hoping to do? You're changing language here?
Changing language? Not really. I mean, we are breaking that last time. We're appointing our own president. We are still trying to break the mental bonds of slavery on our minds, even though we've, the abolition of slavery has passed, and, we've gone through the incremental stages. of freedom in terms of, state rebellions, having black political institutions. We got women's suffrage, universal adult suffrage. We want to make connections. We want to make connections. So the conversation is to say, hey, the person next to you has the same freedoms, no matter what they believe. As we move forward, just how we had to move forward back in the day, persons had to come together and think and say, hey, we need to rebel, we need to resist slavery, we need to resist oppression. Everyone should have the same rights, no matter what color you are. We want to make connections now to what people might be afraid, of humanists, afraid of agnostics, saying they're coming to inflict some sort of evil upon Barbados or upon the world, but we are not. We're just like you. We're your neighbor. You might not know that your neighbor is atheist, but they might be, right? And we're the same as you. We want to contribute and we want to make society better. That's the basic idea.
All right, so it's a virtual event today. So how can people be a part of it, or get to, if they in their own fear want to know more, or in their own ignorance want to know more, how can they find out more and how can they be a part of the virtual event?
Well, you can go directly to humanistbarbados.com and you will find all your information there. You can register there to join the Zoom webinar, or you can just tune in on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, because we'll be streaming live there. You can also go to humanist.international if you want more information about what humanists experience all around the world. And I want to say thank you to Humanist International for making this event possible.
What time do you start?
We start at 11:30 a.m. and we are going to go to 12:30 p.m.
So it's just an hour. You're just spending an hour with us to share this thought report and also to hear from other people.
It's just a start. Giovanni Gaetani, he's one of the workers at Humanist International. He's going to give us a brief synopsis just to introduce us to the report. But this is just the beginning. You'll be seeing more of us.
So who's on the panel for today's launch?
Well, we've got Giovanni Gaetani from Humanist International. He's the membership engagement manager there. We've got Peter Wickham, who's a political analyst. He's no stranger to us. We've got a lady, her name is Mandisa Boyce, and she represents an organization in New York called Black Non-Believers, which is similar to what we do here in terms of Humanist Barbados. And we've also got His Excellency Mr. Alvaro Sanchez Cordero, who is the Venezuelan ambassador to Barbados.
All right. Well, that's today from 11:30 until 12:30 Barbados time. We're hoping that you log in and you can get to know a whole lot more. Good to meet you today, Machelle. I like your first name, Machelle. Farley, thank you so much.
Thank my dad for that. Yes.
Yes. She's the president and founder of Humanist Barbados. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. We're taking a break here, folks, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, still to come this morning, we'll be continuing our look at some of those reasons why you are a little bit scared of dealing with your newborn babies. And yes, we have our pediatrician in. Yes, our pediatrician will clarify a number of things. Babies are far more sturdy than you probably give credit for. Let's get an update now on the news. Once again, it's 7 o'clock. Here's Shane Seeley.
Yes, here's your 7 a.m. headline news. A local nursing home help agency is seeking approval from the Ministry of Health to help those people being mistreated or neglected while in home isolation. Caribbean Home Help wants to assist in this regard on the heels of reports in response to those reports of COVID-19 positive individuals, in some cases being forced out of their homes by family members, an issue which speaks to the COVID-19 stigma in our community. Chief Executive Officer Paul Marshall tells the Morning Report there has been growing demand for home help services during the COVID-19 pandemic. He reveals he's now getting calls to help individuals who are in the home isolation program and explains how his agency would approach the situation.
We have been contacted regarding COVID-19 positive patients who are in home isolation. We are equipped to be able to take care of them from the standpoint of the acquisition of PPE and the skill set of our nurses. However, we go into it with the understanding that we must follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. And with each case, we do an assessment. Most of those cases are past the 10-day period of which it is less of a risk for our nurses. And we try to do our best to ensure that we follow our protocols as strictly as possible.
Now, Caribbean Home Help has about 60 active trained nurses on its roster and about 40 additional nurses on standby. Patient Safety Coordinator Amanda Alfred says the company's recruitment drive speaks to the need for the type of service offered.
We are constantly recruiting, we are constantly vetting our current caregivers, and we are constantly trying to find the best of the best of the best and keep them with us. From there, however, I will say that currently we did have a very recent large-scale recruitment drive, bigger than anything we've ever done, and we do currently have quite a bit of nurses available waiting to be placed.
A total of 223 people, 101 males and 122 females have been identified as COVID-19 positive by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab. A total of 1,229 tests were conducted on Sunday. The new positives include 42 individuals under the age of 18. There are now 927 people in isolation facilities and 7,419 people in home isolation. Meanwhile, one person, a 64-year-old man, succumbed to the virus on Sunday while at the Harrison Point isolation facility. He was unvaccinated. Some relief for residents in the north of the island in terms of their garbage collection woes. The public relations officer with the Sanitation Service Authority, Carl Padmore, told the Morning Report that a number of issues, including COVID-19, impacted collections in that area.
We have had some challenges recently in the north of the island. Reason for that, some of our staff, like other places, had COVID, and those who didn't have COVID, they were under watch, and so they had to stay at home. We had mechanical issues as well. We are working and we're getting back there now. So the north of the island would have been hard hit over the last 2 to 3 weeks, not getting their regular collection. And so we do wish to apologize for that. But we're saying to you that we're getting back on track. In the north of the island, you could call 256-7228 or 836-1722, 256-7228.
After numerous delays, several vendors plying their trade from the old Fairchild Street Market in the city have moved into their new stalls at the renamed Fairchild Street Market Village. Food and beverage vendors along with cobblers have been accommodated in Phase 1. Work is ongoing on the dismantling of the close to 60-year-old stall spaces. Chief Executive Officer of Hague Communications, Public Relations Consultant for the project, Joyanne Hague, expects this work will continue into the week.
Sunday, hopefully, providing our biggest ticket right now is to get Light and Power to remove the meters. Once that is done, then we can just take everything down. We're going to power wash the entire area, remove the fence, and put up some plants for the time being until it's ready for handover for Phase 2, which will start in January, for the construction then of the fruit and vegetable stalls.
And that's it for your 7 a.m. headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. Back to you, Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. 5 minutes after 7. We'll take a break here and we're back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It is 7 after 7. You know what to do now, right? Yeah, it's time to give me a call because it's coming up to time for Crumbs question of the day. Call me now on 228-5562 or 228-5563 because I have a question for you. And those are the only numbers to call. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Here comes today's Crumbs question of the day. The question today is, and I'm asking you to stay real serious, I want to know, what is the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs? You're not buying them individually. What's the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs? Call me now, 228-5562 or 228-5563. What is the price? What is it? What's it? When you go to Crumbs Bakery, you order 10 salt breads, what do you pay? What's the price? 228-5562 or 228-5563. You get real bread for sure. So, what's it? What's the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Where are you watching us from?
St. George, Rock Hall, St. George.
Rock Hall, St. George. Do you like a lot of rock cakes and so forth?
I really do.
You do? Hello?
Yes, please, I do.
Stop getting distracted. Somebody's talking to you. I can hear you now. So don't listen to them right now. They're giving you the answer. I know that. So talk to me. You like rock cakes?
Yes, I do.
How long have you been living there in Rock Hall? All your life?
No, I recently moved here.
Ah, so how do you find the place?
Very quiet.
A little too quiet for you?
Yeah.
So if you had a choice of where to live in Barbados, where would you want to live?
St. Michael.
Why St. Michael?
Because it's more easy to get around to stuff. More places.
A lot easier by transportation.
Yeah.
And you like to walk and find things, right?
Yeah.
You sound like that kind of girl. You sound like that kind of girl. So where in St. Michael would you prefer to live?
I would say Bashaw.
Why Bashaw? Oh, you want to go home. You just want to go home. You want to be near your mother, you want to be near to your friends, you want to be near to all of those kinds of things, right?
Yes, please.
Well, make it happen. What's holding you back?
I ain't old enough to go back there as yet.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
You're what? How old are you again?
20 years old.
And you're not old enough?
Yes, I still go to school.
What school are you with?
I go to school at Pomerine.
Okay, you're doing hospitality. Well done.
Yes,
how's it going so far?
It's okay. Going back to face and still online.
Oh, okay. You're looking forward to the face-to-face?
Yes, I have one this morning.
I understand. Oh, I know, yeah. Face-to-face this morning. So, since you're into this kind of thing, what's the price?
The price is $4.75.
That's your final answer?
That's the last, yes.
That's your final answer. When was the last time you went to Crumbs and bought 10 salt breads?
I think, well, I don't go. My mother does go, so.
And she's the one who was saying to you $4.75?
Yes.
Well, your mother got a deal because your mother wrong. Your mother got a deal. She better keep quiet. She got a steal. But thanks for trying, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. No, not $4.75. 228-5562, 228-5563. You know, it's an ad on TV where the woman comes out of, I think it's IKEA. She says, start the car, start the car. Good morning, hello.
Good morning, Pearson.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. Where are you watching from?
From St. Michael.
You know the answer. What's the answer?
525.
No, I thought you know the answer. You tricked me. You tricked me. You don't know the answer. That's not right, but thanks, okay?
All right.
Thanks, ma'am. Thank you. No problem. I'm looking for the price. I'm looking for the price of 10 salt breads. Can somebody please help me? At Crumbs Bakery, what is the price of 10 salt breads? 228-5562 or 228-5563. So far, I am wrong. Good morning. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Pearson. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm great. How are you doing?
Not bad.
Fantastic. I know you
You're
know.
always my lucky charm, you know.
Exactly. So I know you know. Let me hear you. What's the answer?
550.
Where you get that answer from?
Huh?
Where did you get that answer from?
From Crumbs.
Nah, wrong Crumbs branch you went to because 10 salt breads do not cost $5.50.
They 550 around.
No. Try again next time, buddy. Thanks, man. I want to take one more call. Can we take one more call? He's so wrong. No. So, Ali, we've had one caller who's been really close, but not spot on. I want to know from you, what is the price of 10 salt breads at Crumbs Bakery? You all know the answer. You buy them, unless you like me, crunch up the bill and you toss it aside. Good morning, hello. Good morning. Hello.
Morning. Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. What about you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. What parish are you watching us from?
St. Michael.
Everybody in St. Michael? Listen, what's the answer?
$4.95.
What's the answer?
$4.95.
And where, like I asked everyone else, where did you get that answer from?
That's a guess answer, actually.
That's a guess?
Yes.
So why did you say $3.95 or $2.95? The mystery thickens. Let me hear you. Why did you say $4.95 and not $6.95 or $2.95?
Actually, I can't answer that. That's the truth. $4.95 is a price that I heard, but I can't exactly remember if it came from Crumbs. But I know it was something to do with salt breads.
But you can't remember. Wheel and come again because you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Well done. What's your first name?
Jean.
Madam, hello. She's off the phone.
Jean.
Dean?
Jean.
What's your first name? Help me, somebody. I'm not hearing.
Jean.
Oh, Jean. Oh, Jean. Jean, a pleasure meeting you this morning. Where exactly in St. Michael are you?
Goodland, St. Michael.
Oh, Goodland. All right, no problem. You stay on the phone, Jean. Don't put down baby Jean. You're absolutely right when you said $4.95. Jean got it right today. Jean is our winner in our Crumbs question of the day. It could be you tomorrow. Stand by for that opportunity when tomorrow comes. We're going to take a break here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're coming back with more. We're meeting our pediatrician right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
That's right, and it's time to spend some time with our favorite pediatrician, Dr. Gillian Birchwood. Dr. Birchwood, good morning.
Good morning to you, Pearson. How are you doing today?
I am doing well today, doctor. Thank you for asking. How are you doing today?
I am in good spirits.
Oh, good. Have a glass of water. That's my medication prescription for you today. That's all right. Last time we were together, we were looking at 10 things that parents of newborn babies tend to fear most. And we covered, is my baby feeding enough? How do I know? We dealt with hiccups. We dealt with, why is my baby straining when it has to stool? That soft spot on the head and the baby cord, at the navel, those kinds of things. And I thought we should continue looking at this. So, Can my baby see or hear, and how will I know?
Well, that's a great question. You know, parents are often concerned that their baby is like a puppy and they can't see at the
Yes.
time that they are born. And so it's quite the opposite. Babies can certainly see quite well at the time that they are born. However, they can't see far. And frankly, they don't need to. They just need to be able to see their parents. And so the distance that they can see best is the distance when you are holding the baby in your arms and they're looking at you. So you can see them sort of peering at you when they're born. They kind of give you this intense stare, but they
Yes.
can't control their eyes, so their eyes will roll around, and sometimes they'll appear to be cross-eyed. All of that is quite normal. As the baby develops, within a couple of months, you'll notice that they are actually looking at you much more purposefully, and their vision continues to develop until they're around, I would have to say, about 6 years old. It takes quite a long time for the vision to develop to be comparable to adult vision. As far as hearing is concerned, it's really important for babies to have a routine hearing test. It isn't enough, you know, for parents to say, well, the door slammed and baby jumped. You need to know not simply if your baby can hear, but how well they can hear is also very, very important. And so all babies should have a routine hearing test after birth, and there's a hearing screening program for newborns in babies. And so the majority of them have hearing screening after birth, which is a very good development over the last couple of years.
That's so comforting to hear and to know that we do have those systems in place to allay those kinds of fears. You know, on the weekend I went to a household where there was a brand new baby. Grandmother was so afraid to hold the baby. She thought it would crack. And I'm like, no, baby. And I started to use your words. Babies are a whole lot sturdier than you want to give thought to. The baby is okay. Just support the neck and you should be fine and good to go. And I'm still amazed at how much people still feel about that. You know, that they're so afraid and so delicate that you can't touch a baby.
They are such tough little creatures. I mean,
Yes.
they're wonderful, right? But they're very, very sturdy. They are built to take a licking, which is labor, and they really, you know, can handle a lot. Labor is a lot. And so
Yes.
babies handle that and come out unscathed in the majority of cases. So they're
Fantastic.
very, very sturdy. Nothing to be afraid of.
Good. Now, there's some parents who have expressed the thought that, you know, they've seen the baby pass blood in the urine. And, you know, your eyes would pop open like, huh? A baby? Why? Why would that happen?
Yes. So babies can have what we call pink diaper syndrome. And that's where the urine will look pink or red or orange. And for a new parent, that can be very startling. And their
Yes.
automatic and natural thought will be, this is blood. What's going on with my baby? But actually, it is a sign of immaturity of the kidneys. And it's crystals that are formed in the kidneys that are being passed out, uric acid crystals, which have a reddish or pinkish color. So fortunately, if you notice that in the baby's diaper, when the baby has passed urine, it is harmless and it isn't truly blood in the pamper. And it may be there for a few days after baby is born. So that's also another normal thing.
I was just going to ask you, because if 2 weeks later and I'm still seeing this, I have a cause for concern, don't I?
You should probably check in with your pediatrician and let them have a look, because when they have a look, they'll usually be able to tell, and a very simple test will be able to clarify whether it is truly blood or not.
How many instances are there where it is truly blood, and what could very well have caused it?
It is very rare for a newborn baby to have blood in the urine, and there are certain kidney conditions that can do it. But the most common scenario I would have to say is if the baby has had traumatic events happen at the time of birth, and the kidneys can become injured as a result of severe trauma at the time of birth. And if the kidneys become injured, then yes, blood can pass in the urine. But you would not expect a completely happy-looking baby to have blood in the urine. But another instance when you may genuinely have blood in the urine is if there is a bladder infection. And initially the baby may appear not to have any symptoms, but you'll be able to tell because they will be irritable and fussy, may not feed well, and have a fever, for example. So those are the most common scenarios that you would have blood, actual blood in the urine, but not typically in a happy, healthy-looking baby.
Right, okay, that's great to hear. Now, my baby is sneezing and seems stuffy, you know, is it a cold?
This is another very, very common concern of parents. In fact, they generally tell me, I think my baby has a cold, I'm hearing coughing, I'm hearing sneezing. But fortunately, it is not usually that. So babies have teeny tiny little noses. And after they're born, they still have lots of the liquid that they were floating in their nose, which is beginning to dry up. And as that begins to dry up in their tiny little noses, they sound congested. And they will sneeze to get that out. They can't reach in there as older people might do, or older kids might do, and pull whatever is in there out. So you hear them sneezing, and that's quite normal. The congestion that you hear is simply because of the really small size of their nose, but it isn't a sign that there's any cold. So when you hear lots of congestion and sneezing, it's really normal. They haven't picked up anybody's cold, and again, it's nothing to worry about, just really common with babies.
But they're babies who are born differently abled, and the way their bodies respond will be a little bit different. How do you manage it then with the babies born with Down syndrome, for instance, and is struggling to get it done because the structure isn't quite responding correctly?
That's absolutely correct, Pearson. So there are some babies whose anatomy is different. So for example, children who have Down syndrome have a very tiny mid-face. So the middle part of their face is much smaller. And so because of that, they will have much more significant congestion. They will have very loud breathing, which starts as a baby and continues into childhood. You'll find that they sound really incredibly noisy. And sometimes that requires support and medication, because if it affects their ability to feed and if it makes them uncomfortable when they're breathing, then certainly that can be a concern. So in severe cases where there is an anatomical difference which makes it difficult to breathe, we might need to provide medication or something as simple as some nose drops. Or in more severe cases, an ear, nose, and throat doctor may be needed to actually help to make the breathing easier in those circumstances.
And again, walk closely with your pediatrician who will guide you through all of this. I think that's one of the messages that need to be constantly said, because that's how your affairs are going to be allayed in all of this. My baby looks yellow. What should I do?
Yes, your baby looks yellow. So that is typically jaundice, and that happens in about 70% of all newborn babies. It's incredibly common. Yes, it's very, very common. Nobody knows quite why it happens. That we understand what is the mechanism, but why it happens in babies, it's not very, very clear. However, we do know that after babies are born, they break down their red blood cells because they have an excess compared to when they're in the womb. And so they will break down their red blood cells. And as those red blood cells break down, they produce a yellow color. And that yellow color builds up in the baby's system because it cannot be efficiently passed out of the baby's body. And that is what causes the jaundice. Now, we always check babies for jaundice before they leave the hospital, because it's really difficult to tell by just looking whether jaundice levels are in the safe range or if they are high and require treatment. Fortunately, the majority of babies will have safe jaundice levels, but all babies are checked with a simple test. It's a painless test before they go home to make sure that the jaundice levels are safe. If the jaundice levels are high, they may require treatment with something called phototherapy. But you will definitely be guided by your doctors after the baby is born as to whether or not that is actually a concern or not. Most cases, no, but in a small percentage of cases, the babies do require treatment for jaundice or yellowness in the skin.
And then baby's taken home from hospital because it's time to go back into my living quarters. And so I have to introduce the baby to everyone, not just the other people, but the siblings as well. And so how do we do that so that everyone understands all the protocols that I want to have around my brand new, fresh, bouncing baby so that I don't introduce any illnesses?
Well, I tell you, who don't care about protocols is children.
So true.
They don't care about protocols at all. So, it sometimes can be challenging. So as parents, you are very concerned not just about your newborn baby, but also the older child. How are they going to respond to having a new baby in the house and all the fussing that goes on around the baby? How am I going to make sure that there's a safe interaction between them? Well, it starts long before baby is born. So, when you have a child who is old enough to understand, you're going to talk to them a lot about what to expect when they have a new brother or sister come home. It helps to read them stories about, now I'm going to be a big brother, or now I'm going to be a big sister, and what it means, and mommy and daddy are going to be busy, but they still love you and will still be taking care of you. So you need to reassure them, and you also need to tell them how they fit in, what role they are going to be having. So you're going to be a big brother now, we're going to be counting on you to help out. You have to know that we have to keep babies safe, so you won't be touching babies' hands, or face with dirty hands. You have to clean your hands beforehand. So you need to make them part of the team, and you need to reinforce that they are there to help protect baby too. And I always tell parents, you may not be able to, tell people who come by to visit, please wash your hands without feeling funny, but you can sure get little Johnny to do it. So make sure to tell everybody wash hands before they come near baby.
Yes.
And that goes on a lot better. So they can really have an important role. But beyond that, sometimes it's really helpful to buy a big brother or a big sister gift to make sure that that is going to be there at the same time that baby comes home. Because everybody's providing a gift for baby. Make sure there's one for the big brother or the big sisters to let them know how important it is and how excited new baby is to have a big brother or sister. Little gestures like that can help to smooth things over a whole lot, make them feel a part of the family still.
I like the whole move towards being clean yourself before you touch the baby. A lot of times, people want to kiss and smell. Oh, you can actually do more harm to the baby at that stage than you can well imagine.
Yes.
When you introduce some virus into the baby whose little immune system cannot cope. So no kissing so early. Please wait until it's a lot sturdier, for want of a better word, before you begin to do those touchy things. Dr. Birchwood, as always, I am always grateful to you for joining us. I think parents watching today are feeling a lot calmer in their spirits as well, knowing that it's not so bad. When you see these things happen, don't panic. There's always a reason, and there's always going to be a way out. So thank you so much, as always, for this.
Thank you for having me, Pearson. Have a great day.
Likewise, thank you too. Dr. Gillian Birchwood, our pediatrician, and again, walk hand in hand with your pediatrician. You'll find that there's little that you should worry about. And when those things for which you need to worry happen, there is support. So just take your baby to the pediatrician, do the regular checks, do the right things. We're coming back after this with our Look into Real Estate with Agent Sharita.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 to go to 8 o'clock here on Morning Barbados as we turn our attention to real estate. And that smiling face you saw right there is smiling right now with us, Agent Sharita. Good morning to you, Agent Sharita.
Hello, good morning.
See what I am? You know how many people look forward to see your smile on a Tuesday morning? It is just
I
phenomenal.
can't help it.
And that's good because we love it. We love your warmth, we love your energy and your enthusiasm. You love real estate, and that is very evident. And it's very evident, and it makes us a whole lot more comfortable to know that you will hold our hands and guide us through all of our concerns. Last week we started looking at some of the tips to consider when we're designing our home, and we want to continue that today. One of those that we want to look at is incorporating renewable energy. A lot of our attention now turns to renewable energy. Is that, how critical is that, do you think, going forward?
Well, let's be honest. We have been dealing with costs of electricity being high for as long as we can remember. And the reality is there are, systems in place now to help make our life a lot easier. As a homeowner, you can start investigating placing the photovoltaic panels on your roof and incorporating them with your electrical system. And in many instances, you reduce the cost of your electricity bill significantly. And for those persons who are not necessarily living at the house, they have an investment property, why not make rent off of your roof? And that's the beauty of the systems. You have the electricity coming in, and therefore you're able to get a little bit back from the electricity company every month. Who doesn't want something like that to help them in their budgeting?
And in planning as well, when you sit with your engineers and so on, remember the structure, that it can support all of these things that you're going to put on top of your head, basically, so to speak. You're going to put, obviously you're going to put your solar water heater, you're also going to now put your photovoltaics and the like. So just make sure that your structure is soundly built as you're designing your home. And placement of windows, that's the other thing, because oftentimes you walk into a house, there are tons of windows, but it's hot.
Correct. And now for those who love using the AC, you might not be realizing that your electricity bill is getting higher and higher, particularly in areas that are very warm. So you have to ensure that nothing wrong with using loads of windows, but are the windows made in such a way to help block out some of the harmful rays of the sun? Yes, you want them to let in light, but you don't necessarily want them to let in all of the heat. It will drive your electricity cost up if you have to use AC in a bedroom.
But also, as I think, windows, you must also consider where we are. We're in the Caribbean and hurricanes pass us, and the kinds of windows that we also use at this time when we're designing our homes.
Yes, I have a client, for example, that when he built his multi-unit complex, he ensured that all of his windows were hurricane-proof up to some like category 4. Don't ask me how to test them for that, but hurricane-proof up to category 4. And he felt comfortable knowing, because he had so many exposures, so many areas where windows were placed, he felt comfortable knowing that he had made that investment in a country like ours where you're going to get storms and bad weather.
Yeah, it's critical. It's so critical when you're designing your home that you build that in to your plan as well. Now, we've heard so many stories of people who have moved into their new property. They had a 2-door fridge and suddenly it wouldn't get through the front door or whatever kitchen door, and you're stuck. So when it comes to designing, the spaces are also going to be critical, the entry and exit spaces.
People don't think about that stuff. I have seen fridges dismantled down to the bone just to try to, some of them have been craned in, shoved through in pieces. Back doors have been taken off. We're talking about, the wood, the frame, everything to get. Listen, they just like, we have this, we like bigness.
Yes.
Even if we have a tiny home, we going big on appliances. We need a 40-inch stove with 6 burners, even though we cook twice a week. So when you are designing, you have to think not only of having the items in the house, but how are they getting in? Are they absolutely necessary? Could we use the 4 extra inches of space that we apply to a stove to something else? So those are things, simple things, which could give you a feeling of more space once you have planned right.
And sometimes we also design our homes at one stage now, knowing full well at some stage we're going to upgrade. So the little space that we had for between the cupboard's end and the space with wall where we're going to slot our fridge, it was for a simple little one door for you the upper and the lower part. And suddenly we wanted to have a two door. Major renovations now have to obtain because we did not plan and allow enough space for that flexibility to what we want to do.
We have to kind of future-proof our home. A lot of people build for the now. So they think, I like this now, this is good for now.
Yeah.
But what happens 4 years down the road when you are tired of this footprint? You know, is there space? Did you think about space, as you said, to put additional, whether it's a pantry, a broom cupboard? Did you think that out? Some people are so exact with their design that there is no room for manipulation down the road, and a house should be able to kind of grow and flex with you and your needs over time.
Yeah, and speaking of growing and flexing with me, you know, the flexing of the knees, and so as we age, our mobility will change as well. And so to be able to design a house with the capacity to be able to easily adjust it to fit people's mobility changes as well, I suspect.
Yes, so let's be honest, you're not going to be cute and trim forever necessarily. Mobility doesn't only have to do with, you know, disability issues,
correct,
but also size issues. I listed a property, this is the cutest property in the world, but I looked at the bathroom door and skinny Sharita, I'm like, how am I supposed to get into the bathroom? So I knew that if anybody coming after me was 5 pounds more, they were going to be in trouble. You know, so obviously the person at the time when they built the house, they were nice and neat. But you have to think ahead. Even things like doorways. You don't know if over time you might need wheelchair access or even to use a walker. So don't be so exact when you're building that door frame or you're having that doorway. Don't make it too tight. Always think down the road.
Yeah. One of the things you listed was storage. Why? Why is that an important consideration? I look at your reaction.
Barbados, I love you. I love my people, but you know, I can talk about you. It's for the greater good. We are a clutterfest nation. All of us are just one item away from being hoarders. I know you felt that one, but it's true. Especially Christmas time is coming up, you know, buying is going to start of everything that you do not need. Where are these items going? Huh? Where are they going? Unfortunately, we do not take advantage. If you look in your bedroom right now, I bet you, there's an unused space up above your wardrobes.
That's right.
That could have been developed with some nice long cupboard doors, which would accentuate the bedroom, making it look even as if the ceilings were higher. That is a tuck away area. That is a tuck away area to put things. Other things we don't think about, oftentimes we build the laundry. Think about it. We always build, for the most part, the laundry close to the external rear entrance.
Yes.
But what if we kept it close to the bedrooms where all the stuff is? Then you wouldn't have to have 3 baskets hanging out in your living room with clothing, you know, because you made a wise decision to put even the laundry facilities close to where the clothing needs to go. So we need to think out stuff like that and stop this thing where one linen closet is not enough. No, not enough. Look at your curtains. And you just went and bought more curtains. It's not enough. So even in bedrooms and any additional rooms, don't be afraid to put little skinny wardrobe spaces that are for the purpose just of pillowcases and sheets. One linen closet in a house of 5, not enough.
So true. I mean, I get you, girl. I get you for real. You're so right. Just not enough. But those are some of the considerations, folks, that you have to give to when you're designing your home, and it's going to be your dream. I know it's your dream, but bear all of these in mind so that your dream becomes not a nightmare, but something that you quite enjoy as well. Agent Sharita, as always, thank you so much for your sage knowledge and wisdom sharing with us in our real estate segment every week. Thank you so very much.
You are welcome.
You too are welcome. Don't forget, contact Agent Sharita by calling 233-8888. 233-8888. She knows it. Or go on to your Insta at Agent Sharita or Real Estate Barbados 246 on Facebook, and you can meet up with her. We're taking a break here, and we're coming back with Thornwood and a whole lot more.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It happened so fast I couldn't believe it myself. I'm here. I've changed positions. We're now just about 17 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock as we turn to Thornwood.
Yes,
and Thorn has brought a prop.
More than a prop. Raymond is a complete professional. And Pearson, what's your swimming game like? Your swimming. What's your swimming game
I don't
like?
do swimming. Water I don't do.
So I brought the right man for you. I brought the right man for you.
Yeah.
You know about bit.
I bathe, but I don't do water.
Right, so let me introduce you. This is Raymond Edwards. Raymond, you take it away. Come on. Yeah.
Raymond,
Yes,
waves scare me. I'll tell you, I get seasick very easily. So therefore, I'm not going any further than water meeting me at my knees. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Washing.
Okay. But for all those who are like Pearson, we have a remedy for you. We have a lot of coaches all over Barbados, especially at Browns Beach, who can actually teach you how to swim and, get rid of the fear of going past your knees.
I think Pearson gave me this little sight.
You kidding me, swim? So how do I get past this fear?
Okay, well,
because
firstly,
the minute I step in there, I feel sand begin to shift between my feet, beneath my feet. I am going the other direction.
Well, firstly, the first move is actually to get into the water.
Yes.
Right? But once you do that, we will teach you the breathing technique, how to relax, right? And just go with the flow, feel the water.
Right.
A lot of people like to get in the water, and like you said, begin to feel the shifting, tense.
Right. So relax,
all right?
breathe.
No, we're not tensing. The most important thing about swimming is to relax, go with the flow, feel the water, and just, be on cloud nine.
Just relax. Stoop. Get down there,
Get down,
hit you,
hit you. And, inhale, exhale, and just feel it. All right? Easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, because once you get past it, fear, a lot of people don't like to get past that fear.
But once we've met and pushed past that fear, then we ease ourselves a little further out, and the water begins to feel almost a part of who you are.
Right, that's the
as if I know
question.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
so a little bit. I hear looking like, this man on the party in the height. So the brought Raymond here this morning because like we were talking about it in the car park, for island is completely surrounded by water. We have far too many people who cannot swim, and that for me that's a problem. So Raymond here is going to give us like a couple of exercises, maybe break pass. Give you about the exercises, and swimming it's an excellent way to exercise, especially for those who may have some injuries. Right. You have the buoyancy of the water to assist you. In case you want to go to the beach, you want to do maybe like aqua aerobics, hydro aerobics, anything like that. It will avoid the heavy impact because the water and the buoyancy.
Right, that water therapy is something else. I mean, you see the older people do it, and if the older people can do it, I'm not that old yet, so I should really try it, right?
I was waiting.
But it's a great way, I think, for you to be able to get a safe way as well to flex the muscles and to rebuild that resistance too.
Yeah,
which is what you talk about a lot.
100%.
So where are we going to start?
Where are we going to start, Raymond? Yeah, go tell us where we go from here.
Okay, well, I started already with entering the water.
So I'm in the water now.
You're in the water, right? every coach will tell you the breathing pattern.
Okay.
A lot of people, when you go in the water, you think about holding your breath. Not true.
Yeah, the
right?
shock of the cold alone hits you for 6.
So one of the exercises we do, and we do first, is breathing exercises, okay? And one of the things is, you inhale when your head is above, and when you put your head below, you exhale underwater. Inhale above, exhale.
You serious?
You got like a person.
Exhale. You see? Look at the shock of the face now.
Take it up here, go down and...
Go down and exhale.
Not the other way around. Right. Up here, sir. do not inhale under the water.
No, I can't.
Do not inhale under the water.
So come up, inhale,
head on the water, exhale.
How do I exhale? Through my mouth?
Through your mouth, through your nose, or some people tend to do both.
Okay, so would it just be stationary where we go down and come up?
It could be stationary, we could do that stationary, and when you see the people swimming long distances, that's exactly what they do. They do not inhale and hold their breath.
Right.
No, they don't.
100%.
Okay?
Let it out.
They inhale and exhale. The lungs are muscles too. If you try to hold away in the bicep curl position, you will feel fatigue and your arm will go down. Same thing with your lungs. If you keep holding the air, you're not going to have the air capacity the more you do it.
Right.
So to prevent that, you inhale and exhale.
Underwater.
So we try to have you breathing as normally.
Don't be afraid to breathe out underwater, guys. Don't be afraid to breathe out
right now.
Right? See what I tell you?
So I've seen. Is this technique similar to when people are doing freestyle and they turn their head? So I have a bit of surfing experience.
What haven't you done?
What have I done? Right? I got a bit of surfing experience. Big shout out to Michael Bell. Right? So obviously when you see people doing freestyle and they're swimming, you catch a rhythm, you go 1, 2, inhale, 1.
All the time underwater, they
exhale. That's how it goes.
The reason that's because, the automatic reaction is once my head goes underwater, I'm going to hold my breath. Nothing is going to open for anything to come in. That's our first thought. And so that's why, I'm asking, geez, how do I do this underwater?
Right. Okay, so let me just put some clarity on it. Now, when you're holding your breath, right, I will tell you, that's the floating. Oxygen keeps you up. As you exhale, you're coming down.
Right.
So your exhaling will come when you're moving, all right? Because you're obviously putting more stress on your body when you're holding the air. But once you're trying to float, you inhale, head on the water, and you could just breathe.
Also, we're floating face down.
So now we're floating face down.
We're floating face down. You got
when you're floating,
you're not floating.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, you form. Let me see starfish position.
Yeah, starfish position.
There you go.
This is the way you're
going to the surface area,
all right,
the better you float.
Right.
All right.
So face down in the water and just let my body relax.
Very good.
Yeah, it has to relax, because if it doesn't relax, I'm getting up already.
Well, not exactly, because you're in water. Unless you achieve the level of the Messiah to walk on water and run away.
Oh, you have little faith. So the whole thing is, again, to relax.
Relax.
Breathe under the water.
Once we're moving,
above the water.
Once we're moving and breathing, and the exercises to introduce you to the water, what you just said just now is how we're going to do it. When it comes to the floating aspect, then we say, okay, hold your breath, face on the water, lay down on your stomach, and relax and just feel the water.
Great. So we've just passed the floating stage, right? So what would you say is the first stroke or first swimming style that you would introduce to a beginner? What can I tell? I've now started swimming. We've just gone to your first class.
Yep.
I can float. I'm comfortable now. I can even breathe underwater now. Right?
So
we can do this. We can do this.
Exactly.
So here it is now. The driving force is swimming, believe it or not, are your legs.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay? The same way how the driving force in track and field are the arms. So anybody, when you start out, it will always start out with your legs. If you don't do that, or we don't do that, you begin to pull with your arms, your legs not doing anything, you will find yourself swimming vertically. So to remain balanced, I will start with the kicking and the breathing.
Okay.
So you will learn to kick and breathe. Believe it or not, a lot of people have problems with that, with the coordination.
Yes. Coordination. Well, I'm not even surprised, because you would know it from the sports science course that people have therapy it's just walking normal. You put somebody to walk a straight line and they just start walking like this.
Exactly.
Side to side.
But just thinking to breathe, inhale up, exhale down, and to remain kicking. And that's just the beginning stages. A lot of people have problems with that.
But of course you will support us while we're...
Of course, I'll support you to the level you're at.
You think that you got it covered. You got it covered.
Thought.
Oh, ye of little faith. Right? So, okay, so we start out floating, all right? Learn to breathe, exhale underwater, inhale above. and then we work towards kicking our legs,
Mhm.
right? So those components now are coming down the line.
Coming
So what's
down
the
the line.
next component after that?
So after that, then no, and I think you're.
Hold a second.
Mhm.
But kicking the leg, it's not my whole leg that's going to flop.
Oh, one
is,
of that?
is it?
Yes,
Or is it
You're
just
kicking from your hips, sir?
all of that?
You didn't know that, did you? A lot of people like
No,
to
I mean,
kick and
if I
bend
just
the
from my
knee.
knee. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From the
From
knee.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
extended
whole,
from the
the
hips.
whole
The hips.
lower torso.
Here
Yes,
that
it
guy's
is.
extending all the way from your hips, all the way down,
Don't
not just
worry.
kicking from your knees.
See why it would drown?
See?
I know it's so wrong.
Later on in the segment, I will show you all some like line training things we do as swimmers,
Mhm.
so they could give you a big, more perspective of the types of muscles we actually do use.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
But
so.
that's one thing. You kick from your hips, not solely on your knee.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Yes.
Thorn?
Yeah. So 100%. Going back to that, when you are swimming, all right, you extend all the way from your hips all the way down to your legs, all right, and that is how you get the technique together.
Right. All right. So we're going to take a break here, folks, and when we come back, we'll do a whole lot more of our swimming in our fitness session with Thornwood. Coming right back. All right, we have 6 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock as we continue with Thornwood, our fitness instructor, Mr. Cali Fit 246, fit as ever. And with him is Raymond, who is a fitness, swimmer. Really, he's an instructor.
Yeah. You got a formal national representative here.
There you go.
So those what he's talking about.
Where are we going now with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the last segment, we spoke about some exercise. We spoke about going into some exercises you can do online to help, if you really want to become a better swimmer. All right. So here with me, I have a cloth. And one of the exercises, if you don't have a pull-up bar or you can't pull up, then this one would be very, very good for you. All right. So you have a cloth, you wrap it around, make sure it's tight. You have forearm tension. Okay. You could choose to do this laying down on your stomach or sitting down. I like the sitting down position.
Yeah.
So I will just show you.
Take it away, Raymond.
A little bit. All right. You can come, slightly bend your knee. Everybody knows the lat pull down.
Pull down, yeah.
Right? So instead of using weights, you just make sure the towel or whatever it is you're using is tense. You come and doing the lat pull down, going down. Obviously, you see me leaning back a little bit. I'm activating my core. If you want to get a little festive, you can raise your legs and do it. All right? And I do this a lot.
Yeah.
Do stuff like that a lot with my swimmers. Okay?
So
we could have used a broomstick, couldn't we?
Could we use a broomstick? So for this particular exercise, I don't believe it will be the same because the idea is to apply the tension.
Yes.
So you need something that has a bit of give in it. Whereas a broomstick is obviously a rigid object. So the idea for this is to continuously pull on that object, almost kind of like I'd say like an isometric contraction, where you're just holding it, but then just added movement towards it.
Exactly.
So you kind of get the best of both worlds with an object that's a little more malleable than a broomstick.
Exactly.
Right?
But that would have worked my upper and my core.
And the
yes,
core.
definitely your core. So you're working your back muscles, which are you know, obviously
Also.
come into place a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to swimming. You're right, although swimming is a total body movement, your back muscles are going to be in range. I don't know if you've ever seen, if you watch the Olympics, most swimmers have really wide backs.
Bravos. Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
they're really wide backs,
Yes.
And
very
it's-
narrow,
yeah.
slender coming down here.
Yeah.
So like, those are the muscles that you use predominantly.
Exactly.
All right?
And we can do one more exercise, the same one that I was trying to tell Pearson about. Once again, gotta get down on the floor for this one.
Do your thing, bro.
Okay. Lay down. All right. You can put your hands under. And we all know this here as the flutter kick.
Flutter kicks, yeah.
So you see how I'm
you're
kicking?
moving from your hips, you're
Moving
right.
from the hips. All right. And that's the position the legs we go in freestyle and in backstroke.
All right, so
All
this
right.
one is also very familiar to one that we do in gymnastics as well. You do the flutter kick sometimes, or you would do like a hollow hold and you'd be holding weights in your arms. So essentially you'd lay down on the floor, same way, hands are down, hold it up, you have weights in your arms, you go above the head, and then bringing
Like
it back down.
angels.
Same way, yeah, like you're making a snow angel,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes.
Right? Brilliant core exercise.
You got
See
that
that?
right.
And that's another one we do too.
Well done.
Yes. So
So
Thor
there's
knows
a
what
lot-
he's talking about.
Yeah.
I was assessing your movement.
Fitness and
brother.
fitness.
Fitness and fitness, though there are similarities. When we were
Yes,
off air for 2 seconds, guys, we were speaking about, you know, preparing you for the things that are supposed to come later on and making that conditioning surrounding that. So you don't just want to jump in willy-nilly and tell yourself, okay, well, I need to swim, so I want to swim, so I need to strengthen my legs. So let me go and do a billion
One time,
squats.
boom.
They don't correlate, right? You want to prepare, where squats are good in context, you want to prepare your body for what it is that you need to do.
Right.
So if you know you want to be a swimmer, as he was saying, you got to focus on the exercises that will help strengthen your hip flexors because you're going to be using that to extend from your leg to kick a lot. You want to strengthen your shoulders. You want to have good range of motion in your shoulders, that kind of stuff. So you're not going to do 100 shoulder press, all right? So it's all about clear, you know, I say it all the time, concise progression.
You know, somebody would say, but I just want to swim for fun. It's all it is. You know, you just, what I'm talking about. People do things this way.
Yes. And the swimming for fun, like we said in the last segment, right? That's when they come in, you come to me.
Right.
I teach you the basics, how to get from point A to point B, and how to
Have some
survive
fun
in
while
the water.
swimming.
Exactly.
But once we get the mechanics right,
Right.
then we have a
Then you
far
can
more
have your
enjoyable
fun
time.
in the shallow. You want to swim from Pebbles to Coral Bay? Great. Not Coral Bay.
Again, I will stand on the shore and
I
applaud
feel
you guys.
like Pearson swimming from Browns Beach to North Point and back, though.
No.
I could do it. I could do it in my mind.
So we can stick to boatyard.
Yeah. We'll be out of time, fellas. Again,
All right.
if you have a question, comment, anything at all, this is the man to write to. Califit246 on gmail.com.
And
Bluefisher Quartets on IG. Bluefisher Quartets 246. You can follow me on IG and, you know, jump in my inbox.
Swim in the inbox. We gotta go though. Thorne, thanks as always. Raymond, good to meet you.
Good to meet you, sir.
And we're looking forward to next week, Tuesday, Thorne.
next week you might be boxing or doing gymnastics. Pearson,
That
watch it.
gymnastics, no boxing, might be a lot easier. So bring that punching bag, everything. But there's a Nadia in here that we can make a bag of, right?
Shoot.
I agree. Folks, we gotta go now. We really want to thank you so much for joining us today. There's Roel, Nadia, Samuel, there's Michael, and Tamisha. And we're looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.